Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. So this week, I've been enjoying looking at songs that kind of have an anti-message, in a sense, an anti-Christian message. And today is no exception. Not an anti-Christian message, that may be a little overly harsh, but at least one, today's is an anti-Christian message, actually, almost. So I'm walking down, there's this gorgeous church here that I'm walking by. And it is St. Augustine Church. And out front, they've got this little box here. And I saw it, and they've got a quotation that says, "Humility, the way up is down." That's a very biblical principle. And it made me think of a song that's from an old Rodgers and Hammerstein musical. Betty and Howard sing this song in the musical. And the lyrics are, "Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you." And one says, "No, you can't." Another says, "Yes, I can." "No, you can't." "Yes, I can." And that attitude of I can do anything better than you isn't exactly humility. And don't get me wrong, I do think competition can be healthy, but it can also be unhealthy. I do think a desire to do your best can be marvelous, and I think, the Bible says we're to spur each other on to good works, and that's an important thing to do. But there is an unhealthy mindset that says, I'm number one, I'm the best. My buddy Richard Arsenault is fond of saying, take the high road. You'll find it's got less traffic on it when confronted with choices. And the high road in this situation is the road of humility. It's the road of being competitive in a competitive world, that's okay, but doing it in a healthy way. And so what does that mean for me as I walk through my Christian life? Well, one of the first things it means is I need to always keep in mind who God is. Because the greatness of God is what drives every human being to a place of humility. Because as great as we may think we are, none of us hold a candle to the greatness of God. As good as we think we are, none of us hold a candle to the goodness of God. As right as we think we are, none of us hold a candle to the rightness of God. So number one for me is always remember who God is, and don't measure myself against others. Measure myself against God so that I'm always finding that place of humility. Now, in terms of competition, I think it's important that we find ways to spur each other on to do the best we can and be the best we can. It's a very biblical principle to do the very best job you can. To recognize, though, when you succeed, and this is point number 3, when we do well, when we succeed, we don't get pompous or prideful or arrogant in it, but we give the credit and the glory to God. After all, any skills I've got and any talent I've got is really something God's given me. I didn't pick my parents, I didn't pick my DNA, I didn't pick the environment in which I grew up, by and large. I have, as I've gotten older, been able to affect that environment. But you get the idea that any time we are successful, we need to give all glory and credit to God rather than ourselves. I had a client reach out to me at the time, a potential client, and was shopping me among other lawyers. And the client said at one point, "All right, I'd like you to brag on yourself." And I said, "I don't like to do that." And he said, "Well, I know, but I'd still like to hear it because I need to compare you to everybody else." And I said, "Well, I'll brag on myself, but only in this sense. If you understand that everything good that I've been able to achieve, I've done by the grace of God. And if you understand where God is in the picture, then humility is the only option you've got. Because heaven forbid we think anything you can do, I can do better. No, God can always do better." Some thoughts for you as we go into the weekend, your video thought for the day.